It sounds to me like AI is something that you're really focused on and speaking a lot about on in 2024. Are there some other trends that are on the horizon that you're keeping an eye on, or some other important points that you're having companies focus on for this year and beyond?
Yeah. And by the way, I'm not the only one. One of the things I admire about Mark Zuckerberg, and it's something that we teach, and I want to remind all the listeners, you don't really have a strategy if you haven't named it. That was one of the key things Hubert Joly said in his turnaround at Best Buy. He's now teaching at Harvard. He actually taught in our CEO Summit last August. And so Mark Zuckerberg last year named his strategy, nothing fancy. He called it the year of efficiency. And, as you wander around, you're like, hey, what are you working on? Well, is that going to get us more efficient? And as a result, they popped the valuation of Meta, Facebook, from about 200 billion to 1 trillion. He added 800 billion in market cap to Meta last year. The beginning of this year, January 12th, he announced the focus for this year is all in AI. And so he's making AI the focus in 2024. But to your question, we're really, because inflation isn't under control, it's why the stock market has been taking a huge hit this week and last week with the numbers that are coming out. Inflation's here between now and the end of the decade. So we're really getting companies focused on pricing strategies and compensation strategies. And compensation is really just pricing internally. And if you don't get your arms around, because employees are wanting to be paid more. I mean, I can't go out to lunch for, I swear, what is cost twice what it did just a couple years ago. The prices have gone up tremendously. Food costs and all of those things just to live. I just got my property tax bill here for my place in Boulder. And so there's tremendous pressure on wages. It's one of the reasons why for employees, you better be an A player. It's why we wrote the book, 12 Habits of Valuable Employees. You've got to increase your own value to the company. And then if you can be an A player and add AI, now you've got the productivity combination that allows you as a company to have a lot less people, but they're paid more instead of a lot more people paid less. So your compensation strategies and your pricing strategies are critical. If not, I'm speaking to the DEO group, the Dentist Entrepreneurs Organization, in June, and those dentists have seen their margins crushed over the last 12 months. And so that's my specific topic from the stage, is pricing and compensation strategies. And we wrote a book called Scaling Up Compensation that I encourage all the listeners to read.
When it comes to pricing strategy, you previously put out there good, better, best, which I think is a great framework. Do you have a good, better, best type of framework for that internal pricing when it comes to employee compensation?
No, not as much. You can do it in terms of offer packages that you would put out to certain candidates. That way you can see what their mix is between, time off that they want, 4-day work week instead of 5 versus what is the monetary component. So yes, you can blend offers that way, but the comp strategies are more around making sure that you have very wide pay bands. The big issue as you scale is employees come in and they ask for two things. One, boss, I need more help. And you start throwing people at the problem. And the second one is they want a career path, which is just code for how am I going to make a lot more money here at this company? And if the only way to make more money is to move up into management, you got a problem, because nobody needs managers in the 21st century. This is replacing managers. That's why companies are cleaning house of all of that middle management. As they've said, we don't need people working on work. We just need people working. So then what you've got to do is make sure that, like a professional sports team, do all the quarterbacks on the team make the same amount? Do all the right tackles make the same amount? No. It really is based on measurable performance. And the delta between your starting right tackle, your second string, and the person warming the bench, that can be 100x, 1,000x, delta kind of thing. And so we think you need at least 2x. So for instance, we have a client, Allied Printing. John Summers, again, it's not Facebook or Google, they do commercial printing. Their customer service reps start at about market, what a customer service rep would make in Connecticut in a commercial, kind of company. But they've got the opportunity to make twice as much. But there are very, performance measures along the way. Same with somebody managing or leading a project, just getting a print project. They start in at about market, but they have the opportunity to make twice the market. And their salespeople start in at 60,000 and can make up to 600,000. There's a 10x between the bottom and the top performers. And when John went out into his factory, he said, whoa, it's even there. He says, I have a position called a cutter. Once it's printed, it's got to be cut before it's bound. He says, I got a guy that can do the work of 10 cutters. And that's the point. One great employee can replace 3 good. And we know that in programming or cutting or printing or even as CEOs. Last year, Fortune looked at the best performing companies, and the delta in performance between the best companies and the average was 2.8. And so you've got CEOs performing 3 times better than the average. They deserve the much greater compensation. So the short of it is you got to get out of your head that this is what a position is worth. You can start there, but you need a path where you end up with less people paid more than more people paid less.